Welcome to Service Creation. Hey everybody, in this video we're going to cover service creation, and I'm going to share with you the number one mistake I see the majority of people make when they're creating services on the host. So kind of like the SCTASks technique, this technique is going to execute right when the machine boots up. We do not have to wait for the user to actually log into the machine, which is awesome. You know, just a little bit more safety there. And it's going to execute with system privileges, which is our top tier privilege level on Windows. However, there is one extremely common error I see a lot of different folks make when they're creating systems on a target machine. And that is they use a regular binary. Like I've mentioned before, service binaries are kind of unique. They actually have some code built into there to go ahead and notify the service control manager that the service started successfully. So if you use a regular executable, what's going to happen is it's going to execute, you're probably going to get a callback, and then like maybe 60 seconds later, it's going to die because the service control manager never received that alert that yes, I started correctly. It's going to go ahead and just kill that process. Now, in some past videos, you probably saw me kind of get around that by doing the cmd.exe whack C start whack B, basically making command prompt our sacrificial lamb there. So when service control manager kills it, kills command prompt, but the other binary continues on. But we're actually going to create a sliver service executable so we can bypass that need, and then our bin path is going to look a lot more realistic. So we're going to create a sliver service exe. We're going to create a new service on the host. After that, we're going to take a look at how services actually look on a host, and we're going to compare our service to some other services that are there to make sure it blends in and we're using proper tradecraft. So I have Rogue Arena up right here. We have an active callback. Let me go ahead and do a PS here. Yep, looks great. So now I want you to take a look over here. We do have a generate command for Sliver. So this is going to generate a service binary. Again, that's really important. We don't want to use a regular executable. This is a service executable, exactly what we want. And then we do have to pass it the redirector to call back to. If you remember all the way back to our beginning infrastructure videos, we set up a little redirector, a fake website to catch all of our traffic and then forward it back to our Kali machine. So it's going to go ahead and call out to that IP address there. So let's go ahead, we'll copy this, we'll paste it right in. And while that's compiling, let's go over to the RTFM and grab the service section. So here's our service creation right here. Upload binary to folder and create service pointing at that binary. We can change the description and the display name to blend in our target, kind of like I mentioned, right? So this is going to be our SC create command right here. Let's go ahead and start to build a playbook because this technique does have several steps. So let me copy this to our playbook here. And then I believe there's another command just to make sure it looks good here. Copy that to our playbook. And then we have a couple check commands just to make sure it looks good. I'm just going to copy this first one. And we'll drop it right here. As you can see, our implant just finished. I'm going to go ahead and copy this path for our upload command. So if I run a who am I, you're going to see I'm currently running a system. I'm also on that workstation, the Chai WS32. This is the workstation that we're fortifying our access to in this domain. Let's start to assemble our command. We're going to do an upload. We're going to upload our service binary here. And then we're going to pick a place to upload. We've been using C Windows System 32. I think we've been using HTY. Let's find a better one here. We do need those double backslashes because we're back at that sliver kind of main menu area. C Windows System 32. Let's look for G star. So we got a bunch of different DLLs, a bunch of different binaries. Let's pick one that we can blend in really, really well here. GP text. There's no executable next to it, so I'm going to go ahead and upload one right next to it. Should blend in really well. So we're going to name it .exe. So we're going to upload our new executable Grim chapter to C Windows System 32 GP text.exe. Let's upload that first. Might take a second. Yeah, it's going to upload it in chunks. And then we can go ahead and redo our ls command, you know, make sure it's there and everything's good. So we'll wait for that to upload. While that's uploading, let's go ahead and set up our SC create. So we want to make sure we kind of blend it into the target system. We uploaded it as gptext.exe. So let's create the service as gptext. Typically, service names are going to be a little bit shorter, they're going to be abbreviated, and they're not going to have any spaces. So typically kind of use those rules when you create it. The bin path here, we all know, is going to be C, Windows, System 32, and then we called it gptext.exe. Start equals auto is great. Display name. So the display name is typically a little bit longer, it's going to have spaces in it, and it's just going to further describe that service. So if my service name here was gptext, the display name may be something like group policy text manager. That kind of sounds unique, right? Sounds believable. So now we're going to do our description set. So we need to do sc description, gptext, and then we need to write out our long description here. So we'll say this service ensures the group policy text manager is functioning correctly. Now, one thing specifically I'd like to call out, please make sure all your spelling, your punctuation looks really, really good. If a defender's scrolling through and they see all these mistypes and just misspellings, they're probably gonna say, that's not a legitimate service, and then they're gonna investigate further. Let's drop down into a shell over here. Yes, cmd.exe, and then we'll start to paste in our playbook. Also looking at the output to make sure everything looks good. So create service success, awesome. Let's do our description check, sc description, and then we're gonna do a QC. So let me update the playbook, gptext here, paste in our clipboard. Everything looks good, you know, local system. Our bin path here looks good, but I'm gonna just double check and do the old copy paste. Yeah, great, bin path is loaded. It's pointing at the binary. One other thing we can do with a service create, we can actually run it manually just to make sure it was installed correctly. So let's do that. sc start gptext. And within a minute or two, because Sliver does have a little bit of a sleep, we should get a new callback. If that works successfully, we're actually gonna go log into the host, and I wanna show you how the service looks to an actual defender that would go look at it. And we just got our new session right here. That was actually a little bit quicker than I expected. Always a good sign, right? So this is our new session from that sc.exe. It's persisted, we're good to go. Now I want to show you what this service looks like on the other side. Let's pretend we're a defender here. Let me pull this up. Let's find chai ws32 over here. Which one is it? Right here. Pull up our service control manager. Perfect. And then let's look for our group policy text manager. Look how well that blends into the other services in here. It looks like it actually belongs, which is awesome. Let's go ahead, let's do a properties here. gptext, group policy text manager, description, everything looks really good. This is exactly what I wanted here. So if we go up, I did want to show you some services that just don't look as legitimate. If you don't have a description set, look how much it stands out. The majority of services have a description set, and then even the name, if you had some typos, right? Or even some of these was just some weird endings. I'm sure these are legitimate. Just be careful when you're creating those services. Make sure they kind of blend in. Make it something Microsoft Windows sounding, and you should be good. The last thing I want to show you all here before we go is the removal. It's very easy, very straightforward. Let me bring it up here. Removal, really, really easy. Just sc delete and then your service name. So we're gonna do sc delete gptext. Deleted service success, that's exactly what we're looking for. But that's a wrap for this video. I hope you found it helpful just to kind of get that look behind the scenes. I know I always struggled thinking about what a defender would see if they saw my services, the description, that display name, but hopefully that's a fresh look at it for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one.